Good morning, everybody. Hopefully, everyone is doing well. It's 8:30. I see we got quite a few people on already. I think we'll go ahead and get started. Let me share my screen here. All right. Another agenda of today, we're going to talk about a few items, construction zones, and detours, side swipes, and attire. Got a video to show. I also have another video I want to show. I received a video last week, and it was shared in another meeting, and I thought it would be fitting to share this just as a reminder when we get ready to end. But yeah, we could always talk more about safety. We could always, take in more information, take in insight that maybe we forgot about or haven't been using. So it's always important just to have that open mind. I know a lot of you guys have been driving in this industry for a lot of years. It's easy to get a little complacent or forget or just have that mindset that I've been doing this a long time, nothing will happen. Or you drive with the mindset that I'll never hit anybody, and so I don't have to worry about getting into an accident. And that mentality, I feel, has been sneaking into the industry lately, or the last couple of years, where I've never gotten into an accident before, so I'm not worried about how I drive and things I should look out for. So having the right perspective that anything can happen out there. Yes, your decisions can prevent a lot of accidents from occurring as well. So, but a lot of this business is about mindset, and so we appreciate you guys joining, and we'll be able to talk about a few safety items, and then we'll turn it over to Xenia and the team. All right, David.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. April the 17th to the 21st is the National Work Zone Awareness Week. And in relationship to that, there are going to be a lot of officers in different states that are going to be watching that you obey the signs and obey the speed limits for work zones. It's a national event. It's put on by the FMCSA. So they have they coordinate between the different kind of states to be aware of what's going on and pay attention. That's April 17th to the 21st, National Work Zone Awareness Week. Okay, I'm going to talk a bit about what you do when you're going through a work zone. First thing is expect the unexpected in a work zone. You don't know whether there's a flagman or not a flagman, or whether there's equipment that's going to be sticking out or not, whether the road is even or not, whether the lanes have been narrowed to allow that trucks to work, to exit and enter the work area. There's a lot of different kinds of work areas. So you just expect the unexpected. Slow down, be alert, and pay attention to the signs. Usually there's a sign that you're going to see long before you get to the work zone. There's some kind of either a truck on the side of the road with a billboard that tells you there's going to be a work zone, or there's going to be the orange diamond that tells you you're going to be in a work zone. And usually they post the speed as well. And you have to be really aware that most of the four-wheelers aren't paying attention. And you may have to merge with them. So there's all kinds of things that you need to pay attention to. When you're merging, be careful that your blind spot is looked at, taken care of, that you're paying attention to that blind spot. And if there was a vehicle behind you that was there or next to you, and all of a sudden they disappear, that means they're probably in that blind spot, and you just need to pay more attention to it. Look at when you're in the work zone. Look at the traffic ahead. Okay, pay attention to that. Increase your following distance more than you would if you were in slow traffic anywhere else. The reason for that is you don't want the truck in front of you, if it is a truck in front of you, to billboard you, so that you don't see a flag man, or you don't see a truck that's pulling out, or you don't see a piece of equipment like a a loader that's pulling out or making its maneuvers. So you need to look ahead for that. Okay. Watch your speed. Expect that you're going to be delayed. Okay. Expect that everybody's going to be bumper to bumper, or you're going to have times when the flag man is going to say your side cannot go while the other side goes if it's down to one lane. So just expect a delay and know that you can't get rid of it. Now, there may be a time when you're going to actually be asked to detour off the route. Know what to expect there. Now, I've got a note here about weight restrictions and bridge heights and all of that. The state agency, whatever it happens to be, in California, it's Caltrans, is supposed to design the detours so that you don't have to worry about bridges and weight heights. But I noted last year, or not last year, 2 years ago in, I think it was Kansas, there was a detour. This was during COVID. There was a detour, and all the trucks had to go through a residential zone. And it was very difficult because trying to get trucks through there, they had a hard time making the turns. So you can say that somebody is supposed to do that correctly, but you need to be aware that that's not always the case. That's what I say when I said talk about expect the unexpected. That may be something that's an issue. How do you know if the detour route allows the trucks in that area? Again, we don't know. What do? You just follow any instructions that are given to you about where, how, and when. Okay? One of the other things that as I was talking about with the officers is usually during a construction zone that the violations such as speeding or changing lanes or changing traffic or doing anything that would cause you to get an inspection, or the fines and usually the violation points are double. Sometimes that's posted, sometimes it's not, but usually it's double what it is. And if you're supposed to be doing 45 and you're doing 55, that's the same as if you're supposed to be doing 65 and you're doing 85. Okay, it counts in terms of the value of what you're doing. That's what it turns out to be. Okay. Does anybody have any questions on that? Okay, I'm going to go on to another subject, and that's the side swipe. And it's funny that this comes up because I had a side swipe last month with one of my trucks where a car actually hit the steering wheel of my truck. The truck went over on a K-rail and wound up on its side. That truck was totaled by a small car, but it was a small car that hit the steer tires of my truck. So that caused it to move over and do all kinds of things. So it doesn't take a lot. But a side swipe is when two vehicles are traveling in the same direction and one is on one side and one's on the other side. In the case of the accident that we had, we were not at fault because we stayed in our lanes. We were doing the speed limit. I think that person was trying to get over. They had missed the exit and was trying to get over to get to the exit, and actually hit the steering. For some reason, didn't see the truck, and this was at nighttime, and they hit the wheels. But our camera showed that we were not at fault on that. Okay. What determines whether you're at fault or not? Whether you're in your lane or not in your lane. If you're drifting over off into somebody else's lane and you side swipe, if you're not in your lane, then you are at fault. Okay, that's the determination. Now, having cameras in your vehicle can actually protect you, because people can say, well, he was over here or he was over my lane or over here, but if you have video proof that you stayed in your lane and you didn't make any sudden moves, now they can determine that it was not you and you were not at fault for that. right? If you if someone is merging with you and they come down the ramp, their responsibility is to get onto the ramp, get onto the main road safely, at a reasonable speed so that you don't have to back off. And but it's their job to merge, not yours. However, you still need to pay attention, especially if they decide to last minute speed up or slow down and they merge you. Now, how do they determine who's at fault? Generally, it's the location of the strikes. If you get hit on the side of your vehicle, not in the bumper area, but in the back area, they strike you in the front of their vehicle, then they're at fault. It's whoever is in it in advance. It's the same thing like in a parking lot. If you're backing out of a parking lot and somebody hits you, this is in your car. You're backing out of a parking lot and they hit you in the back wheel, they're at fault. But if you scrape their door while you're backing out, then you're at fault. It's the vehicle that is in front that has the right of way. Okay, so pay attention to that. And you generally tell by scrape marks whether or not who's there. Where the scrape marks are on the vehicle that is the two vehicles that are struck. If it's in the front of one vehicle and the back of the other, then they know who hit who when. But if you can, give way. If somebody's getting on the ramp and they decide they want to speed up in front of you, give way. It's not worth it. Going through the procedures of writing a police report, going to court, or having your lawyer go to court, or having insurance issues, it's not worth it. If someone's in front of you, but they're not all the way in front of you, just back off a little bit and let them in. That's the safe way to do it. And if you're changing lanes, make sure that you have your signal on and that you have looked and see that you can comfortably change your lane without running anybody over. If there's anybody anywhere near where it's going to be a problem, don't change your lanes there. Lane changes are not necessary except to get around somebody else who is maybe going slower in traffic than you. Or you're making room for a truck that's coming onto the ramp so that they can get on, because truck drivers, we know what each other is doing. So make sure that when you are, and I think Aaron is going to present you with a video that talks about that. Okay, one more thing I need to talk about, and that is your attire, what you wear. Why do you need to wear a uniform? Well, the reason you're wearing a uniform is because you're representing the company that you work for. And as a representative of the company, you need to present yourself in a professional way, not, hang on, I'm sorry, I'm distracted. There's a truck with a trailer and a dolly almost pulling into a fuel island, which you're not supposed to do. So anyway, you're representing your company, and the better image you can present to the company and to yourself as a professional, the better the response is going to be from, let's say you have an incident or an issue, the better it is going to be from the officer. He can see that you are a professional and you're going to be professional. And if you're not going to wear necessarily a uniform, at least not wear things that are bright and light and have company names all over it, like Adidas or Nike or anything like that, or some organization, fishing gear, or whatever. Wear something that's plain and like all dark pants to work in. You probably need to do that anyway. But I have my drivers wear their uniform, and on the sleeve of my uniforms is my company name. That means they represent me, and I want them to be in uniform. The other thing is that I have them do is wear a vest, safety vest. Now, it's just recently become a issue with FedEx in terms of having to wear a safety vest while you're in the yard and when you step out of the truck. But I've had safety vests for my drivers for almost 8 years now. A long time ago. It is an OSHA requirement. It's not just necessarily the company requirement. And there are speed limits for which the kinds of vests that you wear. If you're going to be in an area where the speed limit is 1 to 10 miles an hour, there's a kind of vest that you wear for that. There's a vest for safety vest for speed limits of 20 miles an hour to 50 miles an hour. There's that kind of vest. And then there are vests that you have to wear if you are in an area where the speed limit is above 50 miles an hour, 65 miles an hour. And they're different, they're graded. There's grade 1, 2, and 3. So depending on where you go, you should be wearing that vest. FedEx requires it now. You must have a vest on when you're in the yard. So that's something you should be doing. Now, I had a question asked to me about, is it safe to drive a tractor with open-toed shoes or Crocs? Safe? No. Reason is that if you have to apply the brakes really hard, the tongs on a pair of flip-flops or open-toed shoes, your foot can go right through. And in the case of Crocs, your foot may slip out of the Crocs, or you may have a space between your foot and the end of the Crocs where it stops, and that little distance mean that for that little bit of a few seconds that it takes for your foot, the end of your foot to hit the end of the Crocs, is time that you're going to need to brake. So professionally, Crocs, flip-flops, open-toed shoes. I've seen guys get out of their truck with slippers on, and that doesn't mean necessarily that they were wearing them while they were driving. But if they get out of the driver's seat and they have slippers on, that means they were driving with slippers, which is not a good thing. You need to have a shoe or on your foot that can apply the brakes as you need to have them applied. If the shoe is tight, snug on your foot, and you don't have a space between your toes and that you can stop appropriately. Okay, that's all I have. Are there any questions?
Can you repeat again the dates for the work zone awareness?
Yeah, it's April 17th to the 21st.
Oh, to the 21st.
Yeah, National Work Zone. And I'm giving it to you now because I know this is the last one before then. It's the last meeting before then.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much. I didn't receive a notification of that one, so thank you so much for sharing it with us.
Okay. And I want to say one more thing. I've talked to you guys before about this, but complacency and inattentiveness to your surroundings is just asking to have an accident or for someone to hit you. And the frequency of accidents starts with drivers who are new at the job because they're busy looking around and doing other things, trying to pay attention to what's going on, and they're missing things. And then after that, it's after 5 years. You become complacent after 5 years. I got this. I know what I'm doing. Everything is okay. 5 years. And then the next zone is 15 years. Those are the people who have accidents based on not paying attention and being unaware of what's going on. And as Aaron said, I got this. I've been driving for years. I'm a professional. I know what's going on. Not necessarily. You still need to stay alert and awake all the time. Any few seconds that you're not paying attention can be deadly, or at least damaging. Okay? So I'm going to repeat that again. Okay? Safety is not something that you put on like you put on your safety vest. It is a mindset. Okay? It's a mindset. It's something you need to be thinking about even when you're not driving your truck. You need to be thinking about it when you're at home. Safety is a mindset. It's a condition that your body gets into so that you know that you're aware of all the things and aware of your surroundings and what's going on around you. Okay, that's all I have.
Thank you for that. Great information. I'm going to show this video that goes with the side swipe. Very good video here.
Only minor injuries after this. A FedEx truck crashing into a car on the thruway. The task, though, of removing that tractor trailer left dangling, proving difficult.
Had he come down onto the road, I don't think that this would have been a survivable accident.
Good evening, I'm Matt Malloy. Don is off. That truck finally lowered to the road below within this past hour. 13 Wham's Natalie Calzatoni has been covering this crash from that scene all day. And Natalie, still work to be done behind you there.
Matt, this part of Mendon Center Road is still closed and it's unclear when it'll reopen. As you can see behind me, crews have safely lowered the truck onto the ground and they're working to clean up the crash and fix that guardrail. Henrietta Fire Chief Mark Challenge says the driver of this FedEx truck was sitting on the side of the road when first responders arrived to the scene.
Both trailers, fortunately, are empty. Had those trailers been full, I can virtually guarantee you that the entirety of that wreck would have been down onto Pittsburgh Mendon Center Road and probably not survivable at that point. Sometimes the man upstairs is smiling at you and saying it's not your time, and that's what he got today.
State police say the tractor trailer was traveling east on I-90 around 8:30 Thursday morning when it sideswiped a disabled vehicle with 4 people inside, including a baby. The rig overturned and went over the guide rail on the overpass to Mendon Center Road below. The FedEx driver managed to climb out of the cab with the truck left dangling from the bridge.
You've got a very heavy vehicle going at a very high speed, right? 65, 70 miles an hour. And, physics takes over at that point. And this one just happened to flop in the right way that he didn't get killed.
Crews spent the day cleaning debris scattered across the crash site, including the truck engine and close to 100 gallons of diesel fuel that was spilled. You can actually smell the diesel that spilled, and we're told that the DEC is going to investigate the environmental impact after this area clears. The State Department of Transportation will assess the integrity of the overpass, making sure it's safe to reopen the right lane of I-90. Trooper Linnea Crane says there will be extended delays on the thruway.
They're talking into over the night with the tractor trailer, so they're going to try to at least get it down on this roadway. They'll put cones out on I-90, so it'll close down just that small section of roadway right there over the bridge to keep traffic flowing on I-90. That's our main concern at this point, and then we'll clean up the roadway down here.
An investigation into the cause of this crash is underway, and drivers are encouraged to avoid this part of I-90. Matt?
All right, just another example of lane changing and not doing things properly. All right, Zine, you wanted to go over the updates, and then I'll end with a video as well.
Aaron?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, one more thing that occurred to me while we were doing this. I want you guys to remember, you have the move over and slow down laws. So when you're going through a construction zone, that applies as well. But you're either going at a slow speed or you're paying attention to it. When you're coming up to the zone, slow down. You see those flashing lights? Move over or slow down. That's the law in Florida, and it's also becoming in about 15 or 16 states now, especially, and then California as well. When you see an emergency vehicle with lights on the side of the road, you either move over one lane or slow down in speed. Okay, just a reminder.
Thank you. Zinio, you like to go over the updates?
Yes. For Orlando, they've been talking a lot about drive-safe driving. And one of their safety meetings, they mentioned and they shared some information that is in my ground bees about the drowsy driving. And then it is in there like the facts about the time, the speed, and the behavior. Basically, have a good night's sleep. rest, eat properly, don't eat junk food, and make sure you're going at the right speed, that you don't drive faster than it is posted. And I also mentioned here about a CSA mock inspection that FedEx Orlando, Linehaul Orlando, is gonna have at their gate. They have done that before. Make sure you know where the binder is, that all your papers are up to date, that you know where your medical card is. Make sure to have the paper. Remember, they cannot go into a computer and say, oh yes, your medical card is good. You need to show it to them at the mock inspection, in the same way that you will need to show it to some of the law enforcement if they ask for it. Okay, so have your documents ready and make sure you follow and you do a right pre-trip and post-trip inspection. Check your fuses, your fire extinguisher, and make sure your triangles are secured. Okay. Also, we are talking about, and they talk about for that inspection. I don't know if they're going to ask for that, but one of the fines and some tickets that some drivers are having, it's their inability to show where the paper for the police roadside inspection is. You know, yours is in the binder and is identified. So make sure you know what it is. Also, to be able to hand and to give the logbook to the law enforcement. I don't know if they're going to ask you that in that mock inspection. However, check if you know how to mount and dismount the device. If not, make sure that you talk to Wilhelm in the yard, okay? And you tell him that you're not sure on what to do, so he can help you with that. In Ocala, they focus more in rollovers. They say that it's happening because of speed. People are following cars, speed. And remember, when you are taking a curve and when you are on the road, the speed limits are for cars, not necessarily for trucks. So make sure that you take control of the speed that you are going to. Speeding in curve, drivers flipping attention between drivings and voice messages. Oh, that's the other thing that they notice. They're flipping their attention. They want to give messages to Alexa or Siri, or I don't know how many more things we have for to send text messages. They said that still count as texting while driving, because you are engaging in cognitive distraction. So, and you don't want to have an accident or any issue that a law enforcement asks you for your phone and you were sending, even if it's a voice message. You don't want to get in that situation. Use of seatbelt. Remember to wear the seatbelt as the law intended, not under your armpit, not that you click the seatbelt in the chair and you just use the upper part. You need to use it correctly and appropriately. So happy birthday to everybody that's born on March. Ruben, especially Ruben, wants this message for you guys. They want first to say thank you for your hard work and commitment. And he wants to invite you to continue showing pride for your work. And that's what we talk about, the attire, your demeanor, and the way that you project yourself, because you're representing both companies. You're representing FedEx out there, and you're representing us. And we want to project a positive, I don't know, like a positive behavior, a positive demeanor. Okay. So he said thank you because you guys are wearing the uniform and using your best. Professional drivers, I wrote another note here. Remember that you must yield, reduce speed, and increase following distance, and demonstrate that you're going above and beyond to prevent a collision. One thing that David mentioned, it's things that make you not at fault. But we have learned that not necessarily because you're not at fault means that the event, the collision was not preventable. And I think that's where we're getting hurt. So we need to be more aware of that. It's not that, oh, this is the law, I'm not going to be at fault, but it is going to be preventable. It is going to hurt my job. It is going to hurt my company. I think that's where we need to be more aware of and take action on that and try to yield, try to be nicer out there with people. And more in Florida, where we have so many tourists. Detours. Let us know if, oh, this is a new one. Let us know if you have to take a detour. Not informing about a detour, now discussing for tolls not to be paid. So now they have a process that we have to inform line haul, and they have to send us, they have to send an email approving the detour. Basically, you have to take a detour, let us know where you are, talk to Wilhelm, talk to Amado, so we can document that, okay? And remember about your computer-based training that needs to be completed before the 15. Out of that, thank you so much for everything you have done. We really appreciate you. And we know that you're doing your best every day. Thank you, and be safe.
Thank you for that.
We're ready for your, yeah, we're ready for your beat.
Okay. I won't show the whole thing, but I will post it in the training. So you can look at the rest of it, because it's like a 9-minute video. But I did just want to kind of end on this note. And how quickly your life could change.
I played that moment in my head multiple times a day. There wasn't anything I could do. I was out of control. From the time that I looked down at my phone to the time that I looked up, 8 seconds had passed. I never realized how far you travel in 8 seconds.
We see it too often, and Tuesday was another example where someone's killed on our roads for no reason other than someone else's poor choice to make that phone more important than driving. We shouldn't need a law to tell us to pay attention while driving. We should just be paying attention while driving because we know it's the right thing to do. And had that happened on Tuesday afternoon, there's no doubt in my mind that Mr. Bursick would have been home.
He was stopped at a stoplight. I hit him when I was going 63 miles an hour. And hit so hard that my truck went on top of his car. I couldn't steer. I couldn't race to do anything. I couldn't do anything.
I've heard the reports that the fire department took hours to get him extracted from the vehicle. That is a haunting image in my mind that I think about all the time. We'll never get to see our dad again. And it's all because of the 8 seconds that Sam decided to look at his phone. Robert, can I?
All right, I'll leave it there. Like I said, I'll post the whole video in the training session sent out through the app. If you want to watch the full video and the interviews and stuff like that. But just a good reminder, we were talking about phones and distractions and cognitive distractions, using the phone for Alexa or Siri. This gentleman is looking at his phone for 8 seconds, and his life changed forever. When this video was made, it looked like he was in prison for killing the gentleman in that car. But just how quickly time can pass, and you're not realizing that something could happen like this. And not only will it change that family's life, but it's going to change yours and your family's life for sure, just because of the aftermath. But as we end this safety call, take in all the information that we talked about, take it in and apply it. Don't just look at it as just another safety meeting, just another meeting I had to come to. Just make sure that you focus on these items and think about the future and your family, because ultimately you want to be able to come back to your family every single day. All right. So we thank you guys and have a good rest of the week, and we'll talk next month. Thank you.
Thank you.